ladies and gentlemen, I'm not that famous. Maybe I'm not famous for being a public lecturer on any subject, even Thai politics or sufficiency economy. I'm probably famous for something else. Because of the recent political situation in Thailand, a year before, so I was just part of the speech givers. But anyway, I've been traveling around a few countries with my group, which wherever we go, we organize an exhibition along the side, giving a sort of a short talk, 20 or 30 minutes. Today it's going to be like 20 minutes on the philosophy of sufficiency economy of the King of Thailand. So my focus is going to be on the philosophy. Sufficiency economy is not an economic theory. It is not a sort of a competing economic theory to things like capitalism, socialism, free trade economy, or Keynesian economics. It is about the thinking of the kings regarding the way of life of the people, particularly people of Thailand. And it just so happened that last Saturday was the 15th anniversary of the term in English, sufficiency economy, as defined by King Onwimon of Thailand. For the past, let's say, 10 years, it has become somewhat confusing to foreign researchers and economists in academic circle. And recently, there was an institute in Australia, the University of New South Wales, setting up an institution called the Sufficiency Institute. And there was a couple of articles concerning sufficiency economy, but the term sufficiency economy was quoted, but not the king was quoted. In other words, now the term sufficiency economy has become the term recognized by some of the international academic people, but not as the thinking of the King of Thailand. Most of the time they quoted UNDP, not knowing that UNDP a few years ago recognized the Kings of Thailand's sufficiency economy philosophy and awarded him this sort of an honorable prize. So today I'm going to try in my own way to clear up the matter in my way. I'm not hoping that I will be so successful in 20 minutes, but I'm trying to do my best. And then talking about the King of Thailand as an academic, as a researcher, as a scientist, is going to be difficult to convince foreigners. But I feel more comfortable here in Lausanne because whatever the King of Thailand has been doing for the past many years, I must say that he has been the product of Lausanne, Switzerland, because he was going to school here during his younger years. He was here for something like 13 years, going to school, and then went to the University of Lausanne, studying science. And later on, when he realized that he had to be a king, he didn't mean to be a king. He never thought that he would become a king, but somehow faith had it that he had to become a king, so he stopped studying science and took up majors in social science, political science, and laws. So that's what the king should understand. But anyway, talking about sufficiency economy, recently, in the modern development of the idea of sustainable development and sufficiency economy, not exactly understood as sufficiency economy, the term, I would say, invented by the King of Thailand, King Onwimon. Sufficiency together with economy. I mean, you know the term sufficiency is been there, economy has been there, but all the two words together forming a new concept of philosophy. It has been around the world for, around Thailand, maybe part of the world for only 15 years. I always feel that the idea of sufficiency economy as a philosophy propagated by the King of Thailand is not really something totally new. It was sort of a development of the process of thought by the King of Thailand based on ancient philosophy for so many years. People learn from the previous generation. My king is the same. I may be too ambitious to just say that the king was following the Buddhist path, the right livelihood. Live a life sufficiently enough so that you can be happy, have enough to spare for your neighbors, and that was part of the Buddhist economics. That was so ancient. And then later on, 100 years later on, after Lord Buddha, we had in Greece, Plato. Plato was dreaming of philosopher king. I'm not saying that my king is on the same level with Plato, but I think Plato was looking around for some philosopher who could be a king. Otherwise, you cannot have a good, happy state. Maybe a utopia like Sir Thomas More. So, this is not going to be a conclusion, but anyway, when I end my presentation, I would like to conclude in about 15 minutes that the King of Thailand is not only a philosopher. He is a political thinker, social thinker, but he also invented different projects, like thousands of experimental projects around the area of Thailand. So he is also the administrator, not only a philosopher. So that is the term fit for philosopher king as taught by Plato 2,000 years ago. But anyway, that was an ancient kind of a thought, political thought. But for modern sustainable development, now in 1962, I'm sure everyone, most of the people in this room are familiar with Rachel Carson's Silent Spring. That was about the anti-DDT movement. So Silent Spring was probably the most notable work in the 60s. It doesn't have anything to do directly with the king, but must have influence on the king one way or another. We don't know, according to research. The mentioning of the term Sufficiency Economy, which is like 15 years ago. Okay? This is maybe closer to the king's idea. Buddhist economics, as interpreted by a German economist working for the British government in Burma, representing the British government, advising the Burmese government at that time. Professor Schumacher somehow adopted the Buddhist economic idea, and the term intermediate technology became popular around the 1970s. At that time, I was still a student at the University of Pennsylvania. But I bought this book and I felt, wow, that was good. I don't know about today, if younger generation of economists are really so crazy about appropriate or intermediate technologies, but that, talking about Schumacher's small is beautiful, it is like talking about a certain version of Buddhist economics. And I think my king's philosophy is a modern version of Buddhist economics. Because Schumacher or Lord Buddha was talking about how to utilize land for health, beauty, and permanence. And later on, my colleague will talk about the specific project about using the land so that farmers or people who occupy the land could be productive, preserving the environment, develop their own livelihood sustainably. So Buddhist economics taught the land use for health, beauty, and permanence, and consideration for a human being when you start production in any process, like industrial production, farm production, economics as if people matter. My king went further than this. It is an economic as if people's mind, people's culture, people's environment matter in your way of livelihood. So that is Buddhist economics. Small is beautiful. I don't know if I should stress it, but this is sort of a fun way in representing Buddhist economics. Buddhist economics, according to Schumacher, economics without Buddhism, without spiritual, human, and ecological consideration is just like having sex without love. So it's not against Buddhism having sex, but you must have love also, Okay, in 1974, that's when we came across the term in Thai, Suffiency Economy. The king and his friends couldn't think of the English word right away. But somehow later on, they said that, okay, we should, use the term Sufficiency Economy. We don't know whether the foreign, scholars would understand the term Sufficiency Economy, but anyway, the king said that this is something new in terms of definition, and it's going to be taking a lot of time and energy trying to explain the typical and classical economics around the world, what it is. In 1974, in Thailand, when you want to start officially talking about the real quotation from the King's speech, that was from a ceremony of granting a university degree in a university in Bangkok in 1974. He said that the development process must be step by step, beginning with building the foundation where the people have sufficient basic needs, food and other basic necessities, using economical method and appropriate equipment. When I saw the term appropriate equipment in Thai, I thought immediately of Schumacher's Small is Beautiful. And the year was 1974, which is 1 year after the publication of Small is Beautiful. I didn't have an opportunity to interview my king, but I think I have to admit that my king is a political thinker and economic thinker, but he is not like a truly, wholly 100% original thinker, just like anyone in this world. You develop your thought by reading, studying from previous generation, maybe ancient history since the Buddhist time. So, I would say that my king is not out of place. This philosophy is not out of place. He's been learning a lot of things from previous philosophers, but one thing different about my king's experiment with different agricultural projects and business projects is that he is not only a thinker, he is a practitioner. That is why we have to go around the world trying to invite all of you. You have time, if you understand part of my talk, if you do not understand much of it, go to Thailand. We'll take you around and show you like thousands of projects. After having a sort of a step-by-step development, you do it gradually. You don't just, put a textbook on the table and start doing it by the textbook, just gradually. Experiment with it locally, because different community has different culture. Talking about agricultural production, different area has different, quality of soils and land. And by the way, just a week ago, my king was awarded by the United Nations as the soil scientist. And the 5th of December is going to be recognized as the World Soil Day, International Soil Year also, because he was going to be a scientist, going, to the University of Lausanne, studying science. He didn't need to be a political scientist, but anyway, he was going to be a scientist. So you do it gradually. And if the government is a hothead government, just like any 4-year term politician. You like to have things done in 4 years. In India, 5 years, right? In Thailand, maybe 2 years, because sometimes you don't last 4 years, full term. That's a political joke, you can laugh, At this time, Thai people do have a lot of political humor because we have been undergoing a lot of stress and strain politically. But anyway, if you do things too large, you're gonna have risk. It's gonna be risky for you. And that is, like modern business. You don't take risk unless you know what you're doing. That was the 1974 speech by the king. Very brief, right? So I hope you have more questions so that you can go to Thailand. We'll show you around. But anyway, to me, I've been giving the same kind of brief talk about sufficiency economy in London, in Barcelona, in Madrid, and last August in Jordan, in Amman. I felt more comfortable telling all of you, foreign thinkers in this room, or in any other country, telling you about what sufficiency economy is not. It's more easier that way. Okay. When you hear the term sufficiency economy, I think you must have a sort of a confusing idea about self-sufficient economy. So sufficiency economy is not self-sufficient economy. The king once said, the idea of Gandhiji's self-sufficient economy is like Swadeshi, producing all you can in your local village, making your own fabric, your clothes, making your own, producing your own food and all the products, don't buy the British colonialist products. The king said, that's just too much, you can't do that, because sufficiency economy is not self-sufficient economy. You produce what you can, you sell what you can, you expand, you can get rich, but you know where to stop. You can export your product out of your village, out of the province, out of the country, and be richer. But you have to know where to stop. I once asked Dr. Amartya Sen, he came to Thailand and gave a sort of a big speech to a huge crowd. I was a senator at that time. So Thai people, most of the time would be shy to ask questions, right? After the end of the lecture, not many people ask questions, so I thought I would help. Get up and ask a question to Dr. Amartya Sen, the economist who won the Nobel Prize. I said, sir, do you know anything about the king's idea of sufficiency economy? That was quite a few years ago, Professor. But anyway, he said, well, didn't know much, but maybe it's something like Gandhiji's self-sufficient economy. So this goes to show you that people are confusing just by using the term sufficient, that's all, But it is not producing your own products and live with it, do what you can. And it's not even simplicity living. You don't have to live a simple life if you can afford a Rolex, Yes, I have an Omega, here, Speedmaster, 20 years ago. I could afford to buy it at that time, Not this time. The same Omega Speedmaster is so expensive at this time. But if you can afford a Rolex, buy it. Help Switzerland, right? I mean, Gandhi will not help you because he will just look at, look at the sun and say, okay, what time it is, So the king said, you can be rich, but be careful where to stop. Where the happiness ends when you start reaching for more, making more money, no time to, to rest, take a vacation. So what's the point of making more money? Right? So I'm not, saying anything against Gandhiji's. I lived in India for 5 years. Gandhiji's was working quite well against the British at that time. But in the modern day economy, yes, go on, make investment, make more money, and moderation, reasonableness, protected immunity, have full knowledge of what you're doing, and ethics. Live an ethical life productively in your industry, business, and your agricultural sector, whatever you do. I have to be very brief about this, but my friend will continue expanding on my ambiguous talk later on. I like to stress on this as one of the last couple of points. I was a student of socialism. I was quite active in India when I was a student of political science. I was so much in love with communism and Karl Marx. I'm not a communist, I just like to read Karl Marx. And I was free to read and buy things Karl Marx in India, not in Thailand at that time, you know. So Karl Marx was talking about production in an industry where, you know, the cost of production involved natural resource and labor. But talking about sufficient economy of the King of Thailand, okay, you are concerned with utilization of natural resource sustainably, but you have to be equally concerned with the environment, and that is quite a popular idea by the Rio Conference and United Nations Sustainable Development. But the final 2 points, society and culture. Produce things that display your care for local culture, or the culture of your customers also, society. So the other 2 factors are a part of the means of production. Not like Karl Marx, who just being concerned with material means of production and labor. And sufficiency economy is for everyone. Everyone in this room can adopt sufficiency economy. Every person, every organization, every unit of production, every way of life, every mind. This is going to take like hours of lectures to explain to you about that, but I just want to give an assurance here that sufficiency economy applies to everyone. It's not self-sufficient economy, it's not just for agriculture, it's not anti-market economy, and it's not anti-modern economy, globalization. And the King has been awarded quite a few awards by the United Nations Development Program and a few other programs. I'd like to end my talk, if I can have 3 or 4 minutes. I think my time is about up right now, right? But in 1979, and this is just for Lausanne because I'm here. In 1979, BBC interviewed my king, quite a young king at that time, asking the king, what is the duty of a king? And you notice in the film, you can watch this on YouTube, like 45 minutes, but this is like 3 minutes. What is the duty of the king? And the king said, difficult to define. I don't know. I just do what is good for the country, for the people. I just don't know. Just like today, tomorrow we're going to do something. I don't know. Tomorrow we are going to do something good. That is the duty of the king. Because the people love the king and the king loves the people. So let's see the video. We have the
like a command. Here he talks to David Lomax about his job as king.
How do you see, can you hang up the volume a little bit?
Thailand to continue to have. It's not for me to say.
Notice how the 2 sit together on the same plane, right?
I do things that I think is useful, and that's all.
But are you conscious, as King Time yourself, of being able to do something which you feel wouldn't be possible without a monarchy?
Well, I don't know what can be defined as king. That is a big trouble. Because in my position, I am called a king. But my duties, if you have noticed, is not the duty of a king. It's something that is quite different or difficult to define. few things I think that will be useful. And that is all. If you ask me what I had in mind, what the plan I had, I have no plan. Just like I'm today, we are going to have something and we are going to do it. We don't know what the something is, but we are going to do something that is good. That is the plan or the spirit.